Um, sorry, class. You know, Mondays. So just take out your stuff and get ready to write.
Oh, yes, it is Monday, everybody's favorite day. I'm feeling a little bit more awake now, so let's get started. Make sure your pencils are ready. We're writing the I can statement on the board. It should already, well, it's already there. Now you're writing it on your paper. So I can add and subtract numbers with okay, decimals. So take another couple seconds to get that on your page. Once again, don't be upset at me for erasing it because it's also on the board that you see to your left. So we're just going to scroll on down. There's a few warm-up activities we need to do to be able to do the skill that we're learning today. So I'm just going to scroll here real fast. Okay, so we're on this part right here. We're just going to practice, first of all, with a problem that has some decimals. And so we're going to add one and subtract one. So be writing with me as we set this up. Adding and subtracting with decimals is really no different than the adding you've done before. So let's work through this real fast. 145.23 plus 122.44. This is really no different. We just add like we normally do. 3 plus 4, 7. 2 plus 4, 6. 5 plus 2, 7. The decimal, the most important thing is that your decimal lines up. And it simply just drops down right there. 4 plus 2 is 6, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So we have 267.67. We'll work on this next one here. We have a subtraction problem. I'm going to bring it back down just a little bit. Okay, so 365.21 minus 172.41. Okay, the first one's easy. 1 minus 1 is 0. Notice again I have my decimals lined up. 2 minus 4, we can't do that, so we go next door. 5 becomes 4. Then we have 12 minus 4, which is 8. 4 minus 2 is 2. 6 can't subtract 7, so we go next door once again. 16 minus 7 is, oh, I froze up, is 9. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have 192.80. So that is our first little bit of practice for what you need to know. Now the other thing that you must be able to do to access these problems that we're doing here is converting fractions into a decimal. This first one's easy, 77 over 100. You should be able to do that on your own. Let me give you 3 seconds to think about it by yourself, and then I'll go ahead and write it. When a fraction is over 100, converting it into a decimal is so easy. 77 over 100 is simply 0.77. Now, when it gets a little bit tougher is when our denominator, or the bottom number, is not 100. We have to find a way to make it 100. So we're thinking 3 over 5. I want to find an equivalent fraction. Remember what equivalent means. It means equal. I want to find an equivalent fraction that is over 100. So I'm asking myself, what did we have to do to the 5 to get it there? We multiplied by something. You should be thinking in your head. Some of you probably have it. It's 5 times 20 equals 100. So we got to do the same thing to the top. 3 times 20 equals 60. And now we have 60 over 100. Much easier to make that into a decimal, which is 0.60. So this all right here is the warm-up. These are the things, if you know how to do these things, all we're going to do is combine these steps, and then we're going to be able to solve the problems that we're working on today. So go ahead, turn your page, and we'll get started. We are on to our first major problem here, and you'll see that we are adding, but it's not in any sort of decimal form. So this is one where we're going to have to do some adjusting before we actually get to the point where we can add it. Excuse me, I hear some talking in the back, and it needs to stop. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. All right, so 25 and 3/10 is not something that's, once again, it's not in decimal form yet. So we need to focus on this part right here and this part right here and put it into a decimal. So this one here, once again, so easy. 77 over 100 converts into a decimal, no problem. this decimal would simply be 0.77. But 3 over 10 is a little bit more difficult to figure out because it's not over 100. So I want to make this equal to a fraction that's over 100. So I ask myself, 10, what did it take to get me from 10 to 100? Well, 10 times 10 is 100, so we'll also multiply the top by 100, and we've got 30. So this decimal place is 0.30. Another way for you to think of this is that since it says 3/10, just think about what we call the numbers after decimals. This is the tenths place. So if we know that 3/10 is here, you could have known right away that that's where that decimal would be. It'd be 0.3. So, but we know it's 25 and 3/10, so now we can set up our equation. So 25.3, you put those together, 25.3 plus 376.77. Now we've got something that we can work with, but we want to line this up in a much better way. I'm going to start with this bigger number on top. So 376.77 plus 25.3. Go ahead and add a 0, it just makes it easier. And we've got 7 plus 0 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. 1 plus 6 plus 5 is 12. 1 plus 7 plus 2 is 10. And we finally have 402. A decimal carries on down, 402.07. Take a moment to finish writing up what you are doing. I'll give you a few more seconds. If you don't have every detail down, that's okay. But we are scrolling to the next problem. Okay. Nope. My screen. Oh, okay. It's just, there we go. Okay. Technology, you know, it fails you sometimes, but that is okay. So this next one is a little bit more difficult. We have to convert these into decimals as well. Notice neither of them are over 100 though. So we put 1 over 5, we're going to set it up equal to something over 100, and this one is 1 over 2 equal to something over 100. Think for a moment with yourself. I think some of you guys can do this even just while I'm talking. What did it take us to get from 5 to 100? And what did it take us to get from 2 to 100? We multiplied by what? So just think for a moment. Another way of thinking this is think 100 divided by 5 will get us that number. So 100 divided by 5, I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's 20. So 5 times 20 gets us to 100. So we also have to multiply the 1 by 20, and we end up with 20 over 100, which is a decimal of 0.20. And then we're thinking, what? 100 divided by 2 is what? It's 50. So 2 times 50 is 100. And 1 times 50 is 50. So we have 50 over 100, which is 0.5. So now we know what these are, and we can work with it. So we have 426.2 and 275.5. Let's write that over here. 426.2, the 0.2 just came from this 1/5, minus 275.5, which came from the 1/2. And now this is just like any other subtraction problem. We can't subtract 2 from 5, so we go next door, borrow this. 12 minus 5 is 7. We subtract this, 5 minus 5 is 0. 2 minus 7, can't do that. We borrow this. 12 minus 7 is 5. And 3 minus 2 is 1. We have 150.7 for our answer. So that is the bulk of what we're doing. Go ahead and turn the page again. You're going to have a little bit of group work that you're doing in just a moment. So a little bit about the group work to make sure you are set up for success. Let me just help you set up this one. So Samantha and her friends are going on a road trip that is 245 and 7/50ths of a mile long. They have already driven 128 and 53 100ths. How much farther do they have to drive? So this is a subtraction problem because they've already driven some of the way. So set this up like this, 245 and 7/50ths minus 128 and 53 100ths. That's all you need to know for that. Good luck with it with your group. But let me say one more thing about the next part. Skip problem number 2 and go all the way to number 3. This one, I just want you to read it very carefully. I want to see if you can figure out whether it's addition or subtraction with these two numbers. So go ahead. This is with your groups. Yes, this is me actually like telling you, like, yes, you can talk. It's okay. You won't get a consequence for it. So good luck. Work hard with your groups, and hope you do a good job. All right, I hope the group work went very well for you. Now it's time for you to move on to the independent practice. This is where you try it by yourself. Please raise your hand if you're struggling with it, and I'll try to come to you and help you out with it. I just want you to do A, B, and C, as much of that as you can. And try number 2 if you have some extra time. If you don't worry about it. But then as soon as you're done with the independent, just get right to work on your exit ticket. So now you are working silently on your independent work and on your exit ticket until the end of this portion. So, best of luck to you. If you've not already begun your exit ticket, make sure you do it. That's the most important part for me to know what you know. So 382 and 3/10 minus 191 and 87 over 100. Make sure, once again, you first figure out what this decimal would be, and then you work on the subtraction problem for both of these. So good luck, work on it quickly, and then you'll move on to your next station.